Right then, welcome to Banter with Debbie Evans. And oh my God, I said last week we needed 5 hours.
I think we might need a whole day today. 24. Is 24 hours in a day long enough, Ant? That's the question.
I honestly, I've never known a week like this one, to be honest with you.
Mad.
It's 2026. It's only January. I mean, seriously, this is the way this world is, isn't it? It's literally insane.
Well, it was the WEF that warned of it in the first place, wasn't it? That we were going to get all polycrisis and cascades of information and changes were going to come in like a tsunami, and they weren't joking.
They weren't joking at all. We've got a special guest, haven't we, this morning, this afternoon, I should say. Maybe we should bring the special guest on first, because then this is really important information that's going to be discussed. Do you want to do that introduction?
I will indeed. And for people that have watched me over the years before, they'll know that I have a partner in crime, and that's the wonderful Cheryl Granger. And Cheryl and I have been fighting the MHRA. We've been watching the board meetings. We've been attending them. We've been holding them accountable. Cheryl's been doing some amazing work behind the scenes as well. And we still work very closely together. And this week was an MHRA board meeting. So Cheryl has very kindly agreed to come, and we can just pull it apart and do a post-mortem. And of course, Cheryl's my go-to for anything pharmaceutical, because for people that don't, well, I'll bring Cheryl on and let Cheryl give a brief introduction to who she is. Hi, Cheryl. Welcome.
Hey, Cheryl. Welcome.
Hi. Thanks very much for having me on. Hello, Debbie. Well, basically, I'm a self-employed pharmaceutical trainer. So I've trained people for years and years and years. And it's through the training I've done that I was wide awake right from the start. So my background did me proud. And I think that one of the main things, one of the courses that I taught that I thought was brilliant was problem solving and decision making, because nobody defines any problem right. So that could be something that's gone wrong in the body, like cancer. There's never a proper definition. Somebody actually just says this is what's causing that problem, and they go off and they think that that's right, and everybody produces drugs to actually do the same thing. So that taught me a lot. And you've got to do a proper situation appraisal so you know what you're talking about in terms of your problem solving, because that's what life is, solving our problems.
And you've been helping me solve many, many problems at the MHRA. So let's just kick off then, because I said to Ant this week, Tuesday afternoon's a big afternoon. We're going to be sitting there logging into the MHRA board meeting, which has changed since the very first time that we attended, when it was very informal. We could record, we could take pictures, we could ask questions. And all of a sudden we were shut down, not allowed to record, not allowed to take pictures, only allowed to take notes. Members of the board couldn't see our questions when we were putting them up. It became a production, because they knew that we were watching them, and the more people that watched them, the more worried they were starting to get. So they had a board meeting last July. This was with Lawrence Talon, the new CEO, who took over from Dame June Rain. Lots of people will remember me and Cheryl talking about Dame June Rain. But let's remember that the MHRA, the Medicines Health Regulatory Agency, is meant to be there to protect us from medicines that could be harmful. But actually, they say they're the enabler. They're 86% funded by pharmaceutical, with more revolving doors that make me feel so giddy. It's crazy. So there were a lot of things that were discussed at the MHRA board meeting, but I'm going to start with the ending, and then I'm going to throw it across to Cheryl to talk about other things that were talked about in the MHRA board meeting. So I want everybody watching and everybody listening, please clip this and share this. Please clip it, because these are the words from the horse's mouth. So Anthony Harnden, who is the chair of the MHRA, He ended the meeting with these words: "Thank you to the public for watching. We are here as public servants. We are here to protect you, the public. And the MHRA, under Lawrence and I's leadership, will work really hard to achieve these goals, So you can be assured that you are in good hands with the MHRA. So we have nothing to worry about, everybody, because according to Anthony Harnden, under his and Lawrence Talon's leadership, we're perfectly safe. Cheryl, what do you think?
Well, like you say, their remit is pharmacovigilance, which is a big word for saying drug safety. And we don't see any evidence of them protecting us from drugs due to safety issues. And you can't get better examples of that than what's happened over the last five years. And the thing is about the public, they have seen a lot of people get ill and even die since the COVID vaccines were rolled out. We've got yellow card data that's off the scale compared with the past, and they've not done anything about it. They keep talking about improving the system. The system seems to need improving, but they don't seem to take any notice of what the signals are actually showing from that system. And that's the thing that I don't understand. They're not actually fulfilling their remit of protecting us at all. And that's very true of these new drugs that they're doing for cancer, etc., etc. They are spending a lot of money in areas that aren't working but have disastrous results.
Cheryl, you've got a very important statistic with regards to serious adverse, because for those of you that don't know, Cheryl's done an amazing amount of work, which I know she's going to be talking to Ant about in the future, with the pregnancy data that you've received from the MHRA. Tell us the statistic of pregnant women who have suffered a serious adverse reaction after being administered the COVID vaccine.
Well, this is the yellow card vaccine monitor, which is the MHRA's own words that they've said in a summary that they published. And they said that the pregnant women, there were about just over 2,000 of them. They had, or 41% of them had at least one adverse drug reaction. But the main thing that shocks people is, I went after them, yes, for the pregnancy data, but I got all the rest of it as well in terms of their summary. And they stated that 1 in 7, which is 13.7% of 36,604 that were in the monitor, so that was a lot of people, 1 in 7 had a serious medical reaction. Now, these things are labelled when they fall into one of 5 categories. That's an acceptable set of categories for serious medical reactions. The first one's death. The second one is hospitalisation. The third would be life-threatening. The fourth would be disablement, whether it be permanent or temporary. And the final one is congenital conditions, which are birth defects, things that exist at birth. So those 5 categories are what 1 in 7 people found themselves in. And as I always say, you know, if you go into a garage and buy a car and the person who just sold it you says, well, if you drive away in that car now, you've got a 1 in 7 chance of ending up being very poorly or being killed, you wouldn't take it, would you?
It's staggering.
So, and that's something that they've never, apart from this one publication, they've never talked about those figures, the MHRA. They have that information. They still say it's safe and effective. They still say pregnant women should be jabbed. It's, you know, they're not looking at any of their information. And one of the things they do is they decide what they expect from a drug in terms of side effects. So they look for expected reactions. So if something comes up that's not expected, it's as if they don't notice it.
Are they not looking, Cheryl? Are they not looking, Cheryl, or do they just not care? That's my question. Because I mean, it's all money, isn't it? There's profit in illness, and they don't really, in my opinion, they don't seem to care about any of us.
They had 4 means of looking at side effects, so looking for signals. The yellow card vaccine, the yellow card system, they actually published every fortnight. So we saw that, and it went off the scale. You know, compared with what they'd seen for vaccines in the past, that went off the scale. But they just kept reporting on it rather than making conclusions of it. So if you actually go into Yellow Card and report a side effect, it kind of puts you off. It says to you that this might not be caused by the vaccine. This might be caused by a condition you've got rather than the vaccine. And these 4 things that they point out to you that makes you think, oh, well, perhaps I shouldn't report this because it's nothing to do with what I'm reporting it on. It's it's quite incredible. And within this monitor, we know that they had free text data. So they asked you to do tick boxes, and then the free text data was where you could waffle on about other things that were wrong with you that weren't covered by the set ones that they'd given you. There were 10 or 12 on a set list. And this is exactly the same as VSafe in the States, but VSafe had 10 million people in it. Obviously, little old England had, or the UK had 36,000 people on it. So a bit different, but it's showing the same sort of stats about signals. And in the States, they went back, after they got the ordinary data, they went back to VSafe and got the free text data. And that's harrowing. If you read some of those reports, you've got people who are, obviously they're being monitored, so they're allowed to go in on a regular basis and report something like death. And so it's a relative, a husband, wife, reporting death of somebody, and they're going in and they're pleading for help because nobody's listening to them. So there's your proof they don't look at it. You know, we've had Cumberledge, I mean, Debbie knows this, Cumberledge sat on a stage with Alison Cave, who's the Chief Safety Officer, Cumberledge saying that, well, everybody out there thinks that the yellow card goes in the bin because they don't get follow-up.
And how many people know about the yellow card is another question, really. I mean, I know that people I've spoken to since 2020 that have been damaged in one shape or form, I'd never heard of it because the GP or whoever has never told them it's there or what it's about. Nobody seems to.
Well, I don't know if it surprised you, but most doctors don't know about it.
Right, okay.
They're not going to recommend it. I mean, I have a friend whose daughter had a bad vaccine reaction when she was a baby, and she reported it by the yellow card then because she obviously wanted to. So you find a system to do that by. But most people wouldn't go that far, and it can be something that's quite important. It might not be deadly serious, but it might be an important side effect, and they might give up. Yeah.
Let's not forget too that the MHRA in previous board meetings, and we'll come back now to this board meeting, but in previous board meetings, they have talked about having active campaigns with GP surgeries and physicians to educate them and teach them about the significance and the existence of the yellow card. So when I asked my GP surgery, they hadn't submitted any yellow cards. So the MHRA clearly are worried because nobody's putting them in it's the patients that are putting them in. But let's get back to this meeting that we've just been to, the board meeting, because there was a board meeting on July the 8th last year, and there should have been another board meeting in November. It's normally every 3 months, but all of a sudden there was this break and they came back. And what were your big main takeaways from it, Cheryl?
It's the same old. They're patting themselves on the back. Everything's improving, and it's the speed. I mean, June Rain used to say, we can't keep the patients waiting. We've got to get these drugs out. Might kill them, but we need to get these drugs out. And that's the thing. It's the speed thing. And you're talking about phase 1. They're now saying within that board meeting that they want a 14-day turnaround. Well, phase 1 looks at safety.
This is clinical trials we're talking about now, so AKA experiments, right?
Yeah. So, well, you're talking about clinical trials which come in 3 phases, and generally, because it takes a lot of money to do a phase, if you've not got success in one phase, you don't go into phase 2 and you don't continue with it. But in 14 days, you're not going to be able to see anything long term. You're not even looking at it for a month. You know, it's looking at safety within a very short space of time. And that is the way they're seemingly trying to push everything. And of course...
And Can we add to there, and you can explain it, in that whilst they're reducing the times 14 days for phase 1, if it's a medicine that has already been gone through approval and only as kind of maybe has a little tiny tweak to it, but not a huge tweak, like mRNA, Cheryl, what happens to that?
Well, they're letting things through. So in their eyes, mRNA platforms are safe and effective because it's been given to billions of people, hasn't it, etc., etc. And we didn't notice any signals, etc., etc. So it's safe and effective, and therefore you don't have to prove it's safe and effective, even if you twiddle the bit in the middle and the code that's been put into a body. But they haven't got it right. It's when they've made a mistake in the beginning of looking at these, and then they keep developing things. And Joe Public, there's a proportion of the public that know better than the MHRA about the effects of mRNA platforms, because, you know, they go into lots of funerals, they're seeing lots of side effects, and it's difficult for some people to see a reaction so far out from when they might have took it or the relative took it, but they're still seeing things, you know. So,
and we also picked up too, didn't we, that not only were clinical trials, it's again what you've just said, speed, but we both picked up, and I know you have in particular on this board meeting, is rare diseases. Now we know that the UK government has a rare disease bill. We know that they've got rare disease framework. The UK government and the NHS have a whole rare disease. I mean, it's literally exploded, rare diseases. Every pharmaceutical company has, if you go to Pfizer's website or AstraZeneca, they're very big into rare diseases. So what is going on with rare diseases? Because the MHRA seem to be very keen on promoting them too.
Well, it's cell and gene therapy, isn't it? So what they're trying to do is do something they can't do, but think they can do. And they are trying to say, you know, this person's got this condition, there's something wrong with the protein within that person, and therefore we're going to genetically change things so that that isn't a problem anymore. But they're not having that much success. And what they're doing, I mean, I can tell you about Chimera. I'll say that wrong. Kymriah, should I say? And that is something that was approved by the FDA in 2017, right? And I've got the thing in front of me. It's £475,000 a treatment. Because nothing, I mean, the one that we talked about some time ago, Sarepta, Debbie, that's 3.2 million.
So can we explain, Cheryl, that this is
about few patients, really?
So this is tiny. So this is genetic diseases in children, for example. So we're looking at, let's just repeat those eye-watering numbers again in case you missed them, because some of these prices that you're hearing is for one treatment or for one. Just go through it, Cheryl, because it's like eye-watering.
What a lot of this is that they're doing an individual treatment for you. So they take your cells, they send it off somewhere, they twiddle with the genetics so that they can change the immune response within the body, which will help with a cancer or a disease or whatever it is they're trying to do, and then send it back and inject it back into you. And it's apparently that process of changing those cells takes about 30 minutes. So it's not done on, the price is not done on how long these things take. It's done on the fact that they think they're being very clever, I think.
Wow. Can you repeat those prices again?
Yeah, so 475,000 is the cost of Kymriah, which is for things like lymphoblastic leukemia and some lymphomas, which will be for children and young adults in the main. What happened with Kymriah, while I'm just mentioning that, is that they have now got a black box warning on it, because when you take it, there's a very good chance of getting secondary cancers. So you'd be taking it for a cancer and then you end up with a cancer. Mm. And Sarepta, which is 3.2 million for a single patient use, which is, you know, how can the NHS keep producing or paying these amounts of money? That's for Duchenne muscular dystrophy, which is a terrible condition where the muscles of a little one weaken and you get muscle loss by the age of 4, and then by the age of 12 they're unable to walk. And what the FDA was asking to do was to pull the drug because in their trial 2 patients died. And what the company decided to do was they wanted to still give it to those who were still walking, because it was only those who had got to that state that stopped walking that died. So they're saying that they hadn't got anybody in the group that was still ambulatory who actually had any signals of a problem. And so who's ruling who? That's the pharma company dictating to the FDA. You know, that's the regulator in the States. And those are the things that, you know, it's such big money business. So, I mean, we've talked about this, Debbie, about rare diseases, and we can say something more about rare. But in terms of when they first set out, it tends to be a rare thing. So there aren't many patients. And they're actually quite often on death's door. It's a death sentence, the condition they've got, which is like they went and started developing the mRNA for cancer patients because, you know, people are going to be so desperate they will take these treatments.
And then they're on about preempting illnesses, aren't they? Everything's about what you might get in the future.
That's why
Test.
They want the kids' genetics right from the start, you see, so that they can have a look at that. And there's nothing guaranteed. I mean, I always say, you know, when they started doing the genome, when they started looking at what makes us in terms of genes, they were expecting 2 million of them because we have 2 million proteins and the gene makes proteins. So you'd expect 1 for 1, but it's not like that. And we ended up with them making, coming to the conclusion that 19,900 genes made the 2 million proteins. And that means that each gene is responsible for 100, roughly, proteins. So you've got a child, perhaps, with a protein like in muscular dystrophy that's gone wrong, and they want to fiddle with that protein. So they change the gene. But that gene isn't doing one thing. It's doing lots and lots of things. They don't understand immunity properly. They don't understand genetics properly. And they think they do. And that's the danger.
It's a big worry. It's a big worry.
It's a massive worry when you have, you know, a lot of these rare diseases, these children and adults as well that have suffered over so many years, they've never had access to anything. That's always been the problem. And there's always should be access for rare diseases. But on the other hand, we need to remember that the majority of people who don't have a rare disease, and my son has a rare disease, so I've got a skin in the game here, but the majority of people that don't have a rare disease, what's the future for them? Because it seems that this personalized medicine is literally going to be made by your bedside. You know, you're going to have personalized AI cancer vaccine, courtesy of Larry Ellison and Stargate Project, within 48 hours delivered to you. So personalized medicine is not what we think it is. It's not in our best interests at all. It's CRISPR.
They're not capable of doing it. A little hospital pharmacy can't do this. I mean, we couldn't make mRNA vaccines properly. We had these processes that went wrong and let contaminants in and what have you, because it wasn't done properly, because they sprung up all these manufacturers that weren't tested properly by the MHRA as they were supposed to be inspected. So you can't do it. You talk to Headley, he'll tell you they can't do this.
Headley Reese.
You know, they've got books, orange guides that tell them about this, especially biotech. And it's all been developed very, very quickly. And like he will tell you, it's little companies that set up with a few scientists together who've got this idea and they develop it and they put out the clinical trials to somewhere else and they put out the manufacture of the drug to for the clinical trials somewhere else. And you know, you can see that it's a problematic way of doing it.
No, it is.
But
I mean, to be honest with you, Cheryl, the whole pharmaceutical game at the moment is a big scam and a con, and people need to be taking notice of it. And, you know, there's so much more that we could say about. I know that Ant and I have got a whole heap of news that we've got to go through. as well. But I mean, you know, we will need to, hopefully you'll agree to come back, because there's Henrietta Hughes that we haven't spoken about, who's the Patient Safety Commissioner, who happened to be at the MHRA board meeting. But I think in summary, what I would say about the MHRA board meeting, it was an excuse for them all to pat themselves on the back, to applaud themselves, to say how fantastic they were doing, including the people. All the people at the MHRA are very happy. They're retaining staff now. They're filling vacancies. All is fantastic. You have nothing to worry about. You are in good hands with the MHRA. Clearly, in my opinion, you're not in good hands with the MHRA at all. And I think, Cheryl, you'd probably agree with that. But is there anything, I mean, thank you so much for coming on this morning.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Super grateful. Is there anything else you want to add before we let you go and we carry on with other news topics that are just dominating the headlines?
No, I think that it's just they're not achieving anything, even if they review things. So they mentioned the Hilary Cass recommendation to do puberty blockers study. She didn't recommend that. What she said was that we can't recommend puberty blockers because there hasn't been any study. She didn't say go away and do one. But the MHRA stated that. They stated about NHS and how it's been affected by these high rates of flu. We haven't. It's come early. It's not Peter's high, and it's gone quite quickly. They're not looking at the figures, and the public are seeing it completely different from them because they're living it.
Yeah, they are. But we are keeping an eye on the MHRA for the public.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing they talked about was the DASH review, which is all the medications that go wrong, that are given incorrectly and what have you. And that is a heck of a lot. It's 237 million medication errors in the NHS in the last year.
1 year.
1 year. And some of those have resulted in death, but obviously most don't. But it's still not right. So they mentioned a lot of things as if it was a success, but I don't see it the same way.
No.
I think they're failing us greatly.
They failed you because they didn't answer your question. They didn't even ask your question, did they? But that's another story for another time.
I'm going to send that off to Henrietta Hughes and see if she will answer it directly. And that's all to do with my 1 in 7 and how she can still say that the mRNA vaccines are safe. Nobody should touch one. Whatever it's for, nobody should touch one.
Never. Don't.
Seems to me humanity is an experiment. That's the problem.
Yeah.
You're not bothered.
No. And all you have to be told is, as Debbie said, is that they're 86% funded by the industry, and they call themselves enablers. They're not hiding it, and they're just making things, allowing things to happen. And to hell with the public.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Cheryl.
Cheryl.
Okay, well, nice to see you both.
And
it's lovely to see you.
And I'll see you soon, hopefully.
Yes, I will. And good luck with
and so will I.
Yes. Take care, Cheryl.
Okay, bye for now.
Take care. Thank you, Cheryl. Bye.
Wow.
Good old MHRA. They never let us down. Plenty to talk about.
You feel safe, do you?
Oh, I'm in good hands. Anthony Harden told me straight from the horse's mouth. They're here to protect. They are public servants. I'm feeling very confident. Not.
And we're in safe hands with most of these psychopaths, are we not, Debbie? You know, we're in. It's, as we said last week, it's the World Economic Forum week. And I'm afraid, guys, anyone who's watching this stream, normally we do an hour, and we've had Cheryl on, but there's no way we're going to fit this in the next half an hour. So you're going to have to hang on with us for a little bit as we try our best to get through this.
Yeah. Let's start. Are we starting with WEF then?
I think we'll start with the WEF. I've got quite a lot on the WEF. If that's all right with you.
Go for it.
Because this is quite a lot. Let's start. Okay, well, let's start with Ursula. She's a lovely character, isn't she, Ursula? But
you mean the unelected, lovely Ursula? Unelected. Let's remember that.
The unelected. But she does actually discuss something that is clearly happening. I think that everything is pretty much by design. That's my personal opinion. And we are seeing currency change, aren't we? Things are going to change. They want to make those changes. So let's listen to Ursula. She can be the start of our WEF marathon that we've got to coming on. Okay, so let's bring her on.
1971 was the year of the so-called Nixon shock, and the decision to delink the US dollar from gold. In an instant, the foundations of the Bretton Woods system and the entire global economic order set up after the war effectively collapsed. But it also had two major effects. It inadvertently created the conditions for what would become a truly global order, and it provided a sharp lesson for Europe and on the need to strengthen its economic and political power. It was a warning to reduce our dependencies, in this case, on a foreign currency. The world may be very different today, without any question, but I believe the lesson is very much the same. That geopolitical shocks can and must serve as an opportunity for Europe. And in my view, the seismic change we are going through today is an opportunity, in fact, a necessity, to build a new form of Europe.
Okay, so they're making the excuses, I think. I don't know what you think there, Debbie.
I just think, I mean, honestly, I look at these people at Davos and these world leaders, these unelected world leaders, and I don't take any notice of what they're saying anymore, because clearly they're all on a narrative. Clearly they all think they're good people. They all think that, I think some of them genuinely believe that they're good people. But Europe is now going, what somebody was talking the other day about, oh, the European army, you know, European military, which of course this has always been about. And that, where's the European army? I didn't think we'd got one, but clearly she wants to tighten up currency, digital ID. We're going to be looking at blockchain. We're going to be looking at cryptocurrency. And it was interesting because Christine Lagarde was walking in to WEF, and one of the reporters grabbed her and said, not literally, but said to her, why are you taking away cash? Why are you insisting on CBDC, etc.? And she said, no, we're going to have both. You're going to have the choice. And he said, yeah, but you're saying you can't have any more than 1,000 euros or $1,000 in cash. So could you please clarify that? And off she went, scuttled in her very tight black leather trousers. So this is all about strengthening Europe for the elites and destroying it for the rest of us.
Yeah, absolutely. We're the peasants as always, aren't we? And they'll just do whatever they feel they need to do to benefit themselves, and everybody else will get crushed along the way.
Yeah.
We'll go through this WEF thing as quickly as we can, because all of it ties to the same place, and we know what that is, and that was in a way it ties into everything that Cheryl was saying as well. It's all this transhumanism, digital world that they're trying to just block us in. It's bloody outrageous, to be honest with you. We've also, well, like I say, we've got a load of videos to get through, so let's go to WEF co-chair and BlackRock CEO Larry Fink. I think he's putting a little bit of a little worry that maybe us peasants are not listening anymore, which is maybe we shouldn't, though. Let's see. That's what's Larry going to say.
We believe that outside the United Nations, this is the largest gathering of global leadership of the post-COVID period of time. For many people, this meeting feels out of step with the moment. We hear all about the elites. And how does that play out in an age of populism? How does an established institution make a difference in an era of deep institutional mistrust? And there's some truth to the critique. I believe in this forum for a long time. I certainly wouldn't be leading this if I didn't believe that we can change and make the world better. But it's also obvious that the world now places far less trust in us to help shape what comes next. If the World Economic Forum is going to be useful going forward, it has to regain that trust.
Do we, are they going to get the trust of the people, though?
They're delusional. I mean, to be honest with you, you know, all of these videos aside, I think the WEF is collapsing, not just collapsing metaphorically, but I think it's actually collapsing physically as well. I think the they were emptied, weren't they? It was evacuated at one point because people were coughing, and they were worried that some aroma, somebody could smell something, so they had to evacuate the whole conference hall. But I mean, Larry Fink, all of them, they're all the same. It's just like that they seem to say things that they think that we might want to hear, not realizing that we can just see right through the whole agenda. They're all the same. He was interviewing Elon Musk, and it was interesting because he was quite inappropriate with Elon Musk at times. He was saying things that kind of dated him a bit, and Elon Musk was kind of looking at him as if to say, what are you talking about? And it was all a little bit awkward and a bit uncomfortable. But it is very much Larry Fink, you know, I'm BlackRock and I really admire this and we're going to do this. And yeah, right, you're going to buy up our countries and destroy them and we're going to own nothing. That's the one thing that the WEF said, is you will own nothing, you will have no privacy. But what they forgot to tell us was that they're going to make us lonely as well. So they're going to divide us and divide us. So you'll own nothing, have no privacy, and you'll be lonely on top of it.
Well, you'll have AI, won't you?
Where do we start with AI and agentic agents, eh?
Well, there's a lot to be said about that, but one of the biggest heroes that's come out in the past few years is Yuval Harari, is it not? I mean, have you ever known such an anti-human individual as this guy? I really do not understand this individual at all. I don't get where he's coming from, but
his brain is on another planet. I mean, I've got his books, so I've read.
Have you read them? What they're like?
Yeah, I have. I've read his books. I've watched videos of his. When I saw him at the WEF this week, it was just like, well, I mean, just play the video if you've got it.
I've definitely got it. Let's play it.
Do you know? As far as putting words in order is concerned, AI already thinks better than many of us. Therefore, anything made of words will be taken over by AI. If laws are made of words, then AI will take over the legal system. If books are just combinations of words, then AI will take over books. If religion is built from words, then AI will take over religion. This is particularly true of religions based on books, like Islam, Christianity, or Judaism. Judaism calls itself the religion of the book, and it grants ultimate authority not to humans, but to words in books. Humans have authority in Judaism not because of our experiences, but only because we learn words in books. Now, no human can read and remember all the words in all the Jewish books, but AI can easily do that. What happens to a religion of the book when the greatest expert on the holy book is an AI?
Indeed. Well, I've got more on him anyway, because he talks a little bit more about AI, because he's obviously very keen. We know that this massive push, you've been talking about this for a long time, Debbie, about the AI hospitals, and obviously we've got Street in Wes, big Wes down there at number 10 talking about the AI hospitals. And I think Bill Gates at the WEF this week, and we'll play him as well. He talks about how the ones that are going to get back into power will have to use AI. It's crucially important to these people, isn't it?
Oh, it's critical, and you'll notice that all of these people that we're talking about, pretty much without exception, are all transhumanists. and open transhumanist. This is the agenda moving forward.
Yeah. This is exactly it. This is the problem, and I don't know how many people actually recognise what some of us are seeing, Debbie, because this is.
I agree. I think what I've seen, and I'll be writing an article very soon, so keep your eyes out for it, because what we saw with the internet, the advent of the internet, was websites. So we'd go to websites to get our information, and then websites went to apps, and you then had to download the banking app, download the well, I didn't, but the NHS app. Everything became app orientated. So we've gone from websites where we can type. Then we've gone to apps where we can type and talk. And then we're going to go to AI agents. That's where we're going. This is where the WEF is heading for. And AI agents will operate on thought. So for the first time, you won't need to type something. You won't need to say something. You'll just think it. And your AI agent, AI prison officer, AI policeman, AI personal assistant, AI busy mate, that's what it's going to be. But it's all going to be for your best convenience. That's what we're heading for. And all of these globalists at the WEF, including him, I can't even begin to say his name. I just, but all of them are heading towards this era of agentic AI agents, and people aren't talking about it. And it's a race. The race is on. There's billions and billions of dollars to be made in this. So that's where they're heading for. But they're all transhumanists. Anyway, roll VT.
It's so anti-human. It's so unbelievably anti-human.
It is not just another tool. It is an agent. It can learn and change by itself and make decisions by itself. A knife is a tool. You can use a knife to cut salad or to murder someone, but it is your decision what to do with the knife. AI is a knife that can decide by itself whether to cut salad or to commit murder. The second thing to know about AI is that it can be a very creative agent. AI is a knife that can invent new kinds of knives, as well as new kinds of music, medicine, and money. The third thing to know about AI is that it can lie and manipulate. 4 billion years of evolution have demonstrated that anything that wants to survive learns to lie and manipulate. The last 4 years have demonstrated that AI agents can acquire the will to survive, and that AIs have already learned how to lie.
And it's almost like, dare I say it, like he's kind of getting off on all of this. He's like so excited. He's like into it. He can't wait for it. It's absolutely terrifying.
He's bizarre,
how much
isn't he?
He wants. He honestly, he's like in it, invested in it.
Yeah,
terrifying.
It really is. It really is. It's so weird. So weird.
AI agents are going to be in your best interest, of course. They're going to make your life easier. And of course, you'll never be lonely with an AI agent because it'll be your best friend. And it'll also tell people when you've done something wrong as well. Like maybe if you speed or maybe if you do something wrong, it'll report you as well. So he's not joking when he says like a knife. This is death by 1,000 cuts. And this is why I kept saying to people, scrap the app, scrap it. Don't start getting into the apps, because once you've gotten into the apps, you're going to be taken into the next stage, which is the AI agents, which nobody's talking about unless you're at the WEF.
Yeah, well, what they do is they implant it into the conscious, don't they? So they're putting that out there now, and within a period of time now, people will be talking about it, and people will be getting excited about it. Well, this is it. This is
all these brain implants. I mean, Elon's there talking about it. He's a transhumanist as well. You know, I mean, I know Elon is divisive, and some people love him, some people hate him. He's like Marmite. But at the end of the day, he's the one with no experience really at all.
No,
He's
not at
putting
all.
brain implantations in. Who the hell is Elon Musk, really? I mean, it's like Bill Gates, Microsoft. You're a computer man. What are you doing inventing vaccines? It's completely off piste for you. You're not that person.
There's some interesting discussions this week though as well, Debbie, I must admit. The gentleman from America, the US Secretary of Commerce, Howard Lutnick, I think his name is. So he talks about net zero, and obviously Donald Trump talks about net zero as well, which we'll play in a bit. But it's just quite an interesting angle. I'm not sure exactly where they're going with it, but I'll be interested to know your thoughts. But I thought we'll play Mr. Lutnick, who Rachel Reeves was sat next to, and we'll play Rachel Reeves in a bit, who kind of just looks like, I don't know, she really made herself like a bit of a wally. So let's play this guy.
And the Trump administration and myself, we are here to make a very clear point. Globalization has failed the West and the United States of America. It's a failed policy. It is what the WEF has stood for, which is export, offshore, far shore, find the cheapest labor in the world, and the world is a better place for it. The fact is, it has left America behind. It has left the American workers behind. And what we are here to say is that America First is a different model, one that we encourage other countries to consider, which is that our workers come first. We can have policies that impact our workers. Sovereignty is your borders. You're entitled to have borders. You shouldn't offshore your medicine. You shouldn't offshore your semiconductors. You shouldn't offshore your entire industrial base and have it be hollowed out beneath you. You should not be dependent for that which is fundamental to your sovereignty on any other nation. And if you're going to be dependent on someone, it darn well better be your best allies. Okay? And so that is a different way of thinking. It is completely different than the WEF. I viewed the WEF as not a flagpole in the middle, but in fact, they are the flag. Whichever way the wind blew, so it blew. You should have solar, you should have wind. Why are you going to do solar and wind? Why would Europe agree to be net zero in 2030 when they don't make a battery? They don't make a battery. So if they go 2030, they are deciding to be subservient to China, who makes the batteries.
Interesting.
Well, he's right though, isn't he? I mean,
He
he's
is.
absolutely right. What are China using? They're using fossil fuels. They're the biggest user of fossil fuels in the world. They are producing these wind turbines, and they're producing batteries as well. And yet they're using fossil fuels to do it, and we're buying this stuff in that doesn't work. It just doesn't work. It's a complete waste of money and a waste of time, and it's a scam. And the only person that's making money out of this is China, and anybody that's got an investment into solar farms and wind turbines. And in the UK now, we've been told that new houses have got to be built with solar panels. But for me, look, I'm a bit of a petrol head. So I like wood burners. I've got a petrol car. So I'm going to be in big trouble with my carbon rationing and footprint and all the rest of it. But I mean,
Only
saying
one
that,
sandwich a day.
well, you know what? Saying that, he's sitting there talking about that quite rightly. And I agree with him. I do agree with him.
Yeah.
When Bill Gates and all of them have flown into Davos, and then when they've flown in on their planes, they then get a helicopter into the actual town of Davos, and then they get into these big beast machines that glug up I don't know how much fuel, and they're the ones that are telling us climate change. It's a joke. It's a joke. Yeah, and lithium's valuable too right now, and graphene as well. That's where Greenland's coming into it.
Absolutely. It's all about the minerals, isn't it? Okay, so Rachel Reeves, as you saw, was sat next to that gentleman there. And yeah, I don't know. Have you seen this clip? Have you seen this clip of Rachel Reeves?
No, I
Okay.
haven't.
Right, you'll enjoy this one then.
Oh gosh.
Let's put this.
Rachel from accounts.
90% of your critical minerals at the moment come from the US, from China. You need to wean yourself off those.
Sure.
Yeah, but you won't be able to do that without the help of Canada and Australia and other countries. And so for all of your strengths, we do also need to think how we can preserve some of the things that the US has benefited from in the NATO alliance and the Western alliance. 90% of your critical minerals.
Bless her, Rachel. She tries, doesn't she? It's her voice. Do you know what? I don't know what it is about her voice, but as soon as I hear her voice, I kind of just like my ears. It's like, oh no, Rachel. I don't know whether it's just the reputation that Rachel from accounts isn't terribly effective, whether it's her voice. I mean, I'm very sorry, Rachel, if you're listening. It's you can't help your voice, but it doesn't really do a lot for my ears.
I'm not.
She's an embarrassment, to be quite frank.
I think that's quite embarrassing, actually.
But she doesn't even know the country. I mean, she just puts her foot. They all put their foot. The thing is, you've got to remember, these people have been plucked from nowhere. They walk into Westminster and suddenly they think that they own the world. Literally, power goes to their heads. They've got no clue what they're talking about. And when they go off script like that, they get things wrong and make themselves look stupid. And I thought that was a very embarrassing segment for poor old Rachel.
There's no leaders in this, though, is there? When our lot seem to go into these areas, they just look meek to me. You know what I mean? There's no strength there at all.
No, nothing. It's boring. It's very boring people wearing boring suits. Even the women wearing boring suits, talking in monotone language that really is just, it's not, I mean, for what anybody says about Boris and for what anybody says about Trump, they are entertaining. I know they're not there to be entertaining, but you do tend to listen to them because you never know what they're going to say next. These people like Rachel Reeves and Keir Starmer and all the rest of them are monotone, they're boring, they're inappropriate, they're embarrassing. Certainly by other countries. Do they really sit and respect Rachel Reeves as our Chancellor of these? No, come on. What? No. Would you? I wouldn't.
No.
Sorry, Rachel.
Not at all. Next up is one of your big heroes, and that's Bill Gates. And he was speaking, obviously, regarding AI into health systems. Wonderful. Let's play Bill.
But not just into the health system, it's all the way down to the level of the patient. So the patient is able to talk in their local language and describe what's going on. And so in order to make this a reality, to see what works, what doesn't work, we're thrilled that OpenAI and the Gates Foundation are committing an initiative called Horizon 1000, where we'll go into 1,000 primary healthcare clinics in Africa, and you have different systems that we have to connect into. Although not this initiative, there's obviously a lot going on in India as well. And so, over the next couple of years, I would expect developing world health may even get ahead of rich world because the need is so great, and the governments are embracing this and making sure that it's moving at full speed. AI is entering in.
Yeah.
And who the hell is Bill Gates? Sir Bill Gates. Yeah, he is a knight. Yeah, no, he is seriously a knight of the realm. I mean, what the heck does he know about health? He knows absolutely nothing, which is similar, actually brings us straight back to the MHRA, because there's somebody on the MHRA board called Raj Long, who's from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. She is a nobody. We don't know anything about her. She's not a doctor. She's not a geriatrician. She's not a psychiatrist. She's not a pharmacologist. She's a nobody. And yet she's written the whole of the dementia policy for the Department of Health. And she sits on the MHRA board meeting. She's always talking about the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. But who the hell is Bill Gates? He gets ferried in. He's a computer guy. He looks a bit uncomfortable, though, don't you think?
Well, he's a eugenist, that's what he is. And his dad was a eugenist and a transhumanist. Yeah, they're all anti-human. A lot of
Yeah.
them, they're all anti-human.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've got another clip of Bill, as I mentioned earlier on regarding, you know, that people need to be doing AI to get anywhere these days. So let's throw that clip in very quickly.
Properly, that alone might get them reelected, because the current citizen expectation that the NHS waiting lists will be cleared and that they'll have cheerful doctors who don't feel overloaded, you know, there's zero expectation for that. And yet, I believe if during their mandate there is enough time to really get that going.
You should tell President Trump that.
Tell him what?
I don't know. that if they do this right, he'll get reelected, maybe, if he thinks so.
Okay, he's not supposed to run again, but
I mean, the Republicans. And he.
I bet he does.
I bet he'd love to,
I
wouldn't
bet,
he?
I bet, no. I bet he does as Xi Jinping, and he's going to be president forever. This is going to be the Trump dynasty forever. He's never going to want to get off the throne.
Oh
now he's
my
gotten back on it.
God.
Not a chance.
Some people would love that, you know.
Oh, and NHS and Bill Gates talking about the NHS, and honestly, he's got so many fingers in so many pies in our NHS, which is why I say to people, the NHS has been captured, and your data not only is going to Palantir, but it's going to help fill the likes of Bill Gates's pockets.
Not only has that been captured, I think a lot of the West has been captured. Should we play a clip from China?
China.
Okay, let's play this. Bear with me. All right.
规则面前，应当人人平等。极少数国家不应当有基于实力的特权。世界不能重新回弱强势的丛林法则。各国都有权维护自身的正当权益。中国一贯重视以自身发展，带动贸易伙伴共同繁荣，致力于做大全球经贸蛋糕。我们从不刻意追求贸易顺差，不仅愿意做世界工厂，更愿意做世界市场。规则面前，应当人人
Apologies
平等。
for trying to get the video to work there properly with the subtitles, but effectively what China is saying there is that the world cannot return to the law of the jungle where the strong prey on the weak. China is willing to be not only the world's factory, but also the world's market.
Of course they are. Of course they are. They already are. China, you know. Oh, where do we start with China?
China.
Do we start with the China super embassy, perhaps? And that's how they're getting their tentacles everywhere. And basically, I'm going to say it. I know this is my opinion, right? I think Keir Starmer has sold us out to China. And anybody that's following a Chinese narrative, a pro-Chinese narrative, I would be questioning personally, because I can see a lot of issues around China. Where do we start?
Well, I've got a bit more on China. Macron's going to talk about China next. You've got a question here though, and you don't have to answer it right now. I know you're going to answer it at some point.
I will.
Okay, should we leave it at that for now?
We will.
Okay.
Holding on there.
Okay. Right. Let's play Macron
In his blue sunglasses.
in his blue sunglasses. Yeah.
Very trendy.
China is welcome, but what we need is more Chinese foreign direct investment in Europe in some key sectors to contribute to our growth, to transfer some technologies, and not just to export towards Europe some devices or products which sometimes don't have the same standards or are much more subsidized as the one being produced in Europe. China is welcome,
Yeah.
but what we need is more Chinese foreign direct investment in Europe in some key sectors to contribute to our growth.
So there's a lot going on in China, isn't there?
I get to hear China all the time at the moment. I think that's maybe relevant. I believe in signs. I think if you hear something 3 times in 24 hours, you should take a red flag to it. And I've heard China so many times in the last 24 hours. It's very big news on all fronts.
It's very big news. It's getting more rapid, but I think people are. I don't know if they're ignoring it or what. I don't know, but it doesn't seem to be getting talked about, Debbie. That's the thing, and
No.
it's hugely important
No.
because there is an infiltration. It seems happening. This is massive news, and this is going to change. We're seeing the change in our world. We've seen it massively already in the past 6 years. Is there an influence coming from that side of the world?
I tried for a long time to report about things that were going on in China, but I was censored from doing that. But we've had Chinese police stations in this country for a very long time. Chinese police stations who were investigating and arresting and detaining anybody that they felt was a dissident that had come across from China. There was also lobbying going on in the Palace of Westminster. We've got a Chinese MP. We've already reported that, a couple of months ago. So the Chinese influence is huge, and I've been stopped on a number of occasions from reporting about it, and I think that's very significant because clearly, when you think about what's happening in the UK, especially, I'm sorry, but this Chinese super embassy is not in the UK's national security best interests or in the public's best interests. And yet Labour are just letting it go. The government have just let it go. Yes, we're going to give China. Oh, of course, Keir's going over there next week, isn't he? Isn't he going to? He didn't go to Davos.
He's going to Beijing.
No, he's going to Beijing, and he's going to meet, I think he's going to meet Xi Jinping as well. So this has been on the books. This Chinese super embassy has been on the books ever since the days of James Cleverly. He was the one that started it off. And now Labour are very keen to give them this super embassy, which for those of you that don't know, it's the old site of the Royal Mint, which happens to be right next door to the Tower of London, right? So it's it's a huge site, huge. And it's been alleged that there are going to be 208 secret chambers in this embassy.
Yeah.
And there's one room in particular that will be right next door to all of the lines and cables that connect the City of London, the financial centre of the world, pretty much.
Yeah.
And loads of people have been going, no, you can't this is ridiculous. Because I did a little bit of research, and it's going to be the largest, this Chinese super embassy is going to be the largest diplomatic compound in London, in the UK. Russia have a big embassy in Kensington Gardens. The US have a very big embassy in Nine Elms, which is known as the Crystalline Cube. But this Chinese embassy is going to be the biggest ever. And Yvette Cooper, if you go onto the Chinese embassy page, Yvette Cooper's been having conversations with Wang Yi, who was having conversations with James Cleverly. This is how long the Chinese administration, because they're there for so long, continually, it's the same people talking about the same thing, but to different politicians in the UK, because they've changed. Cleverly's gone. Now we've got Yvette Cooper. So the conversation with China's remained the same, but with the UK, it's different. But we've sold out to China. And on top of China, perhaps, I don't know if you want to talk about it now, but, that plays into it as well. And that's the Chagos Islands.
Oh, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
It's honestly, it's mad. People aren't really looking at the Chagos. They're thinking, oh, what, the UK? We have given away.
Well, didn't we pay them for it?
We've paid 30 billion we've paid to give them away. Now, I think that these have been some old cronies one night that have been sitting there going, oh, we've got to get rid of the imperialism, any traces of it, the remnants of it, we've got to get rid of it. Let's give back the Chagos Islands and let's give them 30 billion while we're at it. Actually, let's give it to Mauritius. Why don't we give the Chagos Islands, which happen to be 1,000 miles away from Mauritius, by the way, so it's not like they're next door neighbours. We'll give the Chagos Islands to Mauritius and we'll give them 30 billion while we're at it. Well, Mauritius are absolutely delighted because not only are they busy mates with China, But the Chagos Islands has a military airbase on it, Diego Garcia. I think it always sounds a bit like a football player. I get a bit confused. But there's a big military base, Air Force, airfield and stuff on there. So strategically, for the West's security, it makes absolute sense to keep the Chagos Islands. Thank you very much. So, of course, Trump stood up at the WEF and said we'd been stupid, being weak for giving them away. And Keir Starmer got so fed up with that, he actually rushed it through Parliament that night and gave them away. Now, not only has he given them away and paid to give them away, he's given them away for no reason. No reason whatsoever. But I can't understand why Trump didn't intervene in the first place, because this is strategically important for the USA as well. And now we've just given them to Mauritius, who are China's best friend. And the Mauritians are absolutely delighted because of the 30 billion that they've just been given. Nobody's got to pay tax anymore over there. But why did we do it? And it seems like we're kind of giving everything. We're going with China. We're allowing China to take over our country. Really?
It's the worst transfer in history, that.
It's crazy. I mean, it was done for no reason. It's literally been done for no reason. We didn't have to do it.
No, we didn't. It just doesn't add up, does it? Doesn't add up at all.
I completely see why Trump says we're stupid, because we are. I completely see why Trump says it shows a sign of weakness, because it so does. So Trump on that, I mean, I'm not a Trump fan, don't get me wrong. He's making America great and destroying the rest of the world in the process. So I'm not a fan of Trump, but he's absolutely right when it comes to the Chagos Islands and the Chinese super embassy. It's ridiculous.
Well, I'm not a fan of Trump at all, as you know, Debbie, but he said a lot this week that made, a lot of it made sense. A lot of it was hilarious. We'll try and rattle through as much of this as possible. This first clip, though, is 3 minutes, so we can sit back and watch this one for a little while. But he goes on about net zero again. And I think that's important because we're getting pressured in this country massively as individuals, as families, and we're going to be pressured massively over the next few years regarding this net zero nonsense. And people need to kind of wake up to this scam. That's because that's what it is. That's exactly what it is. Okay, let's play Trump.
Because of my landslide election victory, the United States avoided the catastrophic energy collapse which befell every European nation that pursued the Green New Scam, perhaps the greatest hoax in history. The Green New Scam, windmills all over the place, destroy your land, destroy your land. Every time that goes around, you lose $1,000. You're supposed to make money with energy, not lose money. Here in Europe, we've seen the fate that the radical left tried to impose on America. They tried very hard. Germany now generates 22% less electricity than it did in 2017. And it's not the current chancellor's fault. He's solving the problem. He's going to do a great job. But what they did before he got there, I guess that's why he got there. And electricity prices are 64% higher. The United Kingdom produces just 1/3 of the total energy from all sources that it did in 1999. Think of that, 1/3. And they're sitting on top of the North Sea, one of the greatest reserves anywhere in the world, but they don't use it. And that's one reason why their energy has reached catastrophically low levels with equally high prices. High prices, very low levels. Think of that, 1/3. And you're sitting on top of the North Sea. And they like to say, well, that's depleted. It's not depleted. It's got 500 years. They haven't even found the oil. The North Sea is incredible. They don't let anybody drill. Environmentally, they don't let them drill. They make it impossible for the oil companies to go. They take 92% of the revenues. So the oil companies say, we can't do it. They came to see me. Is there anything you can do? I want Europe to do great. I want UK to do great. They're sitting on one of the greatest energy sources in the world, and they don't use it. In fact, their electricity prices have soared 139%. There are windmills all over Europe. There are windmills all over the place. and they are losers. One thing I've noticed is that the more windmills a country has, the more money that country loses and the worse that country is doing. China makes almost all of the windmills, and yet I haven't been able to find any wind farms in China. Did you ever think of that? It's a good way of looking at it. They're smart. China's very smart. They make them, they sell them for a fortune. They sell them to the stupid people that buy them, but they don't use them themselves. They put up a couple of big wind farms, but they don't use them. They just put them up to show people what they could look like. They don't spin. They don't do anything. They use a thing called coal, mostly. But China goes with the coal. They go with oil and gas. They're starting to look at nuclear a little bit. And they're doing just fine.
Well, it's not necessarily true regarding China and the offshore windmills, though, because I think they've got many more. Actually, I can share this screen. Let me put this on, and then you can see. So it's not necessarily true. However, he makes a lot of sense in what he's saying. We are ridiculous in the dealings of all this. Absolutely ridiculous. It's embarrassing.
It's madness. It's a waste of money. I mean,
Yeah.
well, that's all they're doing is they're just burning money. This whole net zero, it's all a scam. I just say to people now, everything's a scam. The COVID was a scam. Climate is scam. CBDC is scam. It's all just a scam. And I think once people start to realize that there isn't anything complicated about any of this, it's just a scam. And we have to say no. And this is why I've always been saying, if you're fed up with the government, pissed off, that's a bit rude for me, but it's pissed off with the government, then everybody's on the same side, because it's all one big scam. And we are being run by a bunch of organized criminals.
It's mafia stuff, really.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And it's not just in the government, There's mafia stuff going on, infiltrating its way into pretty much everywhere. And I'm talking everywhere. We're not just talking about infiltrating into the NHS or infiltrating into different government departments, we're infiltrating into supermarkets, into Tesco's, into Sainsbury's, facial recognition, infiltrating into media, infiltrating into alternative media. This infiltration is going on. It's like a parasite, and it's getting bigger and bigger, and its tentacles go out further and further and further. Questions have to be asked.
Absolutely. And something that you talk daily about as well is the way that America are likely to drive up prices in the drug prices in the country. So there's a clip here, Donald talking about that. He was addressing Macron particularly, but it's something that you've been chatting about. So I think we'll if it's okay with you, we'll play this clip. Let's bring Trump back on.
It's allowed them to get it. As presidents allowed them to get away with it. It became very tough. So when I called up Emmanuel Macron, I watched him yesterday with those beautiful sunglasses. What the hell happened? But I watched him sort of be tough. But he was at $10 for a pill. And I said, Emmanuel, and I have all the big pharmaceutical companies are in total agreement. It wasn't easy, by the way. They're tough, smart. They've been getting away with the scam for a long time. But they gave it up. But they said, you'll never get the countries to approve it. I said, why is that? Because they won't. They always said, we're not paying any more. Get the rest for the United States. So over the years, they stayed the same. We just went up, up, up. And I mean, we would pay 13, 14, 15 times more than some certain countries would. So I said, no, they'll approve it 100%. Sir, you'll never get them to approve it. I said, I guarantee you. But I actually started with Emmanuel, who probably is in the room too. And I like him. I actually like him. Hard to believe, isn't it? And I said, Emmanuel, you're going to have to lift the price of that pill to $20, maybe $30. Think of that. That means it's a doubling of prescription drugs. Might be a tripling, might be a quadrupling. It's not easy. No, 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 Donald, I will not do that. I said, yes, you will, 100%. He said, no, no, no. You're asking me to double. I said, Emmanuel, you've been taking advantage of the United States for 30 years with prescription drugs. You really should do it, and you will do it. I have no doubt. In fact, I am 100% sure you're going to. No, 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 I will not do it. Because, yes, in all fairness to him, he has to double or triple. Because the world being a bigger place than the United States, it's not that you meet in the middle. You just have to go up some, and we come down a lot. They go up a little, we come down a lot. So we're at $130, they're at 10. So they may have to go to 20 or 30. No more than that. I said, Emmanuel, you're going to be doubling or tripling? No, no, no. I said, here's the story, Emmanuel. The answer is you're going to do it, you're going to do it fast. And if you don't, I'm putting a 25% tariff on everything that you sell into the United States and a 100% tariff on your wines and champagnes. And that's about 10 times more than what I'm requesting. And you're going to do it. I don't want to go public with it, but you may make me do that. No, no, Donald, I will do it. I will do it. It took me, on average, 3 minutes a country, saying the same thing. You will do it. They all said, no, 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 I will not do it. You're asking me to double the cost of prescription. I said, that's right, because you've been screwing us for 30 years. And they said, we will not do it. I said, that's all right. On Monday morning, we're putting a 25, 30, 50. I gave different numbers for different countries. This is also national security we're talking about.
What do you think, Debbie?
Yeah, it's what we've been saying all along. Trump has said continually that the drug prices, and if you think of the fat jabs, you know, they've gone up to, for the UK, £130. I don't know if it's 130 or to 300, 130 to 300 pounds a month for someone in the UK, but somebody that's got insurance in the US, that price has gone down now to $25. So, you know, he's been saying for a very long time, we are not going to withstand these price hikes anymore. You in Europe, UK, you're all going to take your fair share. And that's what we're seeing now. We're seeing drug prices going up here, and they'll come down in America. It was all about making America great again. It was never about making the rest of the world great again. So yeah, it was what I've expected, and he's very proud of it. And he's, you know, he's had Albert Bourla from Pfizer in the White House. He's had Pascal Soriot. He's had them all there. Stefan Bancel, Moderna, Pfizer. He's like that with them. Let's not forget Operation Warp Speed. Drugs is a big business. You've got to be ill to need a drug.
No, he's very proud of Operation Warp Speed, and he said it again this week. He has said it again.
Yeah. He's not our friend. He's really not our friend. You might. Yes, you can see. It's confusing because I can see why a lot of people will go, yeah, you know, he said that. Oh well, I was talking to Macron and I did this in 3 minutes, and you kind of laugh along with it like you did with Boris. But actually, this is serious stuff.
Absolutely, it is.
And whilst he's busy making America great again, which I don't believe he is, but he's making America great again, he is destroying the rest of the world. Literally,
he is the chaos destroyer.
In straight.
That's what he is. He's here to create the chaos. And we'll get on to. I know we're going to try and get through this as much as we can, and there's a lot that we're talking about today. But the peace thing that they've got going. Or as Elon put it this week, spelled PIECE, because we'll take a piece of Venezuela, we'll take a piece of Greenland, which I thought was quite, you know, it was a good quote actually from Elon, because that's exactly what's happening. And this isn't about peace, but it might be about a new world order, because they've talked about that a lot this week as well.
It absolutely is about a new world order. Of course it is. Keeps getting spoken about
all the time. And a lot of the new Canadian president has mentioned it. Yeah, he's said it a few times. Ursula's said it. Zelensky's said it this week as well. New World
He's cheesed
Order.
off Mark Carney's cheesed Trump off as well. So
I saw
now they're
that.
having they're now falling out. I mean, honestly, it really is the world's a stage.
Oh, it really is. Let's carry on the stage with Trump. He's talking Greenland as well.
But in doing it, I'm helping Europe, I'm helping NATO, and I've until the last few days when I told them about Iceland, they loved me. They called me daddy, right? Last time. Very smart man said, he's our daddy. He's running it. I was like running it. I went from running it to being a terrible human being. But now what I'm asking for is a piece of ice, cold and poorly located, that can play a vital role in world peace and world protection. It's a very small ask compared to what we have given them for many, many decades. But the problem with NATO is that we'll be there for them 100%. But I'm not sure that they'd be there for us. If we gave them the call, gentlemen, we are being attacked. We're under attack by such and such a nation. I know them all very well. I'm not sure that they'd be there. I know we'd be there for them. I don't know that they'd be there for us. So with all of the money we expend, with all of the blood, sweat, and tears, I don't know that they'd be there for us. They're not there for us on Iceland, that I can tell you. I mean, our stock market took the first dip yesterday because of Iceland. So Iceland's already cost us a lot of money. But that dip is peanuts compared to what it's gone up. And we have an unbelievable future in that stock.
It's wild. It's the Wild West, isn't it?
But didn't you get a bit ew when you said I'm the daddy? It's like ew. I just find that a little bit uncomfortable. And oh, it's a piece of ice. Well, you know what, Donald? Let's just talk about Greenland, because somebody should talk about Greenland. And maybe he doesn't know about Camp Century, although I have a feeling I think he does. There's a lot going on at Greenland. It's not just a piece of ice, however much he'd like to get us to think. Yes, it moves around, but it is strategically important. I mean, it's massive landmass between Russia and the USA. So if the USA don't get their hands on it, then Russia or China probably will. So it's a kind of, well, the lesser of all evils. Someone's going to get their hands on Greenland. Who is it going to be? But what do the Greenlanders say? You know, and what's been talked about is that they're all going to be offered, every single Greenlander will be offered £100,000 for the inconvenience of being transferred from Denmark. Although I think that's all a little bit vague, how Denmark, the Kingdom of Denmark, actually rule Greenland, because they don't rule Greenland are autonomous, so they rule themselves, but are part of Denmark, the sovereign. But it's all very cloudy where this is going. So we're going to hear a lot more about Greenland, and I can see why Trump would want it, quite frankly, because strategically, on a national security and a world security level, if they don't have it, Russia or China are going to grab it. So it's a case of, well, who grabs it first? So I kind of get that. But don't just tell us it's a lump of ice. No, it's not. It's got graphene. It's got all sorts of minerals.
Of course,
it's probably got a massive, great big city under the ice, which you guys have been building for goodness knows, even though you told us that Camp Century had been abandoned. There's a lot more going on in Greenland than meets the eye. But it's just it's just Trump going in again. I'm going to argue with everybody, whether you're my enemy or whether you're my ally, whether you're my best friend. I don't care. I'm just going to trample over all of you, and I'm going to get my own way.
Yeah, and he did mention Iceland. Jelly Bean bought that up, but I think it was something regarding Greenland. I think Iceland maybe have said something, and that's cost.
It was within it was to do with the stock market and to do with finances. So no, I don't think he's intending on taking Iceland yet. After Canada, perhaps Greenland, and then maybe, I don't know. He just we had what was it? 18 months ago we had the Gulf of Mexico, and now we've got the Gulf of America.
Yep. So to rattle through this a little bit, because
let's rattle.
I'm not gonna throw all these videos on because we will be here all night. He talks about the election being a rigged election, and everyone knows that now, and they found out, and people will soon be prosecuted for what they did. So he brought that up. He's actually called Somalis as well. He called them having a low IQ, which was an interesting racist phrase, maybe, I don't know, but it was a bit of a strange thing to bring up. But he does say some strange things sometimes. He said certain places in Europe are not even recognizable, frankly, anymore. He loves Europe, and I want to see Europe go good, but it's not heading in the right direction. I can't argue about that at all, because it really is unrecognizable. This country is unrecognizable. The towns in this country are unrecognizable. So, you know, I can't disagree with that at all. I think it's important that we do remind people about warp speed, though, because he did say it again. So let's bring that one up.
And so it began. And we ended up with the COVID, and the whole world suffered. We did a phenomenal job. I don't think we got the credit we deserve. We did something that Operation Warp Speed, which some people say was one of the greatest military feats ever. We did a great job. Used our military, used a lot of people. And so it began. And we ended up with the COVID and the whole...
We can't ever forget this stuff.
Never forget warp speed. This was a military operation. This was a military attack on us, the population, on humanity, on creation. Let's not forget warp speed. And let's not forget what he's got rolling out to Project Stargate, you know, with Larry Ellison and Oracle. And they're going to be experimenting on us in the UK. Let's not forget that. Trump is not our friend, however entertaining he may be.
He's not our friend, but he did say some very interesting things, and he said something as well, which I can't not disagree with at all. He's talked about lower housing costs for young people, and his quote is, "Every time you make it more affordable for somebody to own a house, you're actually hurting the value of those houses. I don't want to do anything to hurt the value of their house. If I wanted to crush the housing market, I would do that so fast that people could buy houses, but you would destroy people who already have houses." And he's been talking about how, you know, in America, he wants people to own their property, not rent, unlike what the WEF wants us to do, you know. So again, I mean, it's good cop, bad cop stuff. I think they're all taking us in the same direction.
Yeah.
And it's they want you to pick a side. That's always been the case. It's a divide and conquer kind of stuff. Yeah. It's all about that. But they're all going to just take you down the same path, basically. But you can't disagree with that.
No, but you can. Well, the thing is with Trump is that he tells a lot of porky pies, and he comes up with statistics that when you go and check them, that's not actually the statistic. And he says he's got rid of all the migrants. He's got rid of all the illegal migrants. He hasn't got one left. Well, where have they all gone? Did he send them back to their original countries, or has he done a deal with Europe that he sends them all over here? Because they're coming from somewhere. They're coming from somewhere, and Trump sent them all home, apparently. So I don't believe everything that Trump says. He makes it sound great, and he throws out statistics, and he says, I mean, he's really upset that he didn't get the Nobel Peace Prize, right? He's really pissed off with Norway about that. He's so upset about it because he's so amazing, and he should have got it, and blah, blah, blah. I don't trust Trump as far as I can throw him. And he gives out data that, whilst I agree with the principle of what he's saying, the way that in which he's going to carry it out, I don't agree with at all. And let's not forget, he is using the UK, the NHS, as an experimental base.
Yeah, indeed, Debbie. Okay, so the Peace Board. Now, that was an interesting one. So some real great names on this Peace Board. What I've seen this week, you've got Tony Blair, Netanyahu, and I think he wants to bring on board Putin as well. There's a list of these names, and this is him talking about this piece. I mean, what do you think about it before we play? I mean,
the whole scam.
Of course it is.
Scam. All of it. It's like a mafia. It's like, do you want Tony Blair, Putin, and Netanyahu? And where is Netanyahu? Apparently he's not in Israel at the moment. He's gone into hiding. We're not quite sure where he is. But would you want any of these people organising peace? The likes of Tony Blair?
It's a joke. It's seriously,
dangerous.
Anything where Tony Blair goes, you walk the opposite way.
Exactly. The Blair Witch Project.
It's,
Sorry, it had to be said.
All right, let's bring Trumpy back on. I mean, it's a bit of the Trump show today. I'm sorry about this, guys, but it is quite funny. Bear with me. Sorry about this.
People have power.
Come and take over Greenland. If you're worried that Putin would do something like that, why invite him to join your board of peace?
Because we want everybody. We want all nations. We want all nations where people have control, people have power. That way we're never going to have a problem. This is the greatest board ever assembled. And everybody wants to be on it. But yeah, I have some controversial people on it, but these are people that get the job done. These are people that have tremendous influence. And if I put all babies on the board, there wouldn't be very much. So he was invited. He's accepted. Many people have accepted. I don't know of anybody that hasn't accepted. But it's going to be great. I think the Board of Peace will be the most prestigious board ever, and it's going to get a lot of work done that the United Nations should have done.
Come and take over Greenland. If you're
Is this not like a League of Nations kind of thing?
Yeah, of course it is. Of course it is. And I disagree with him there. You see, I don't believe, because I read somewhere, and I don't know who it is, but I read somewhere that people have refused to be on that Board of Peace. So he's talking absolutely out of his own colon, quite frankly. And this is where we have to be very discerning with what and who we're listening to, because it might sound good and it might look good, but that doesn't mean to say that it is good. And that's exactly my point in question with Trump. He says it, he walks the walk, but he doesn't back it up with anything.
No, well, Yvette Cooper's ruled it out, hasn't she?
Oh, like we're all gonna. I mean, Yvette Cooper. Where do I start with Yvette Cooper? Yvette Cooper, Ed Balls, and Tony Blair. I mean, they're both on the Privy Council. Ed Balls and Yvette Cooper, of course, they're team husband and wife. So Ed Balls used to be Shadow Chancellor, Labour Party Minister. Yvette Cooper, who's now our foreign minister. Is she our foreign minister? She is our foreign minister, isn't she? Yeah, she was Home Office and then she's foreign minister. I mean, these people are all part of the same club. They all dress up and go off to this, Privy Council. They're Knights of the Realm. They're this, they're that. They're all part of the same club, the club that we're not in, and the ones that we don't want to be in.
That's what George Carlin always said. It's a big club and you're not in it.
I don't want to be in it, thanks.
Well, I don't want to be in it.
Definitely not.
Well, this club's interesting, and Trump talks about how he likes some of the people that's in this club. Have you seen this club? He's such a knobhead, isn't he?
Great. They're friends of mine, I think. Let me see. Yeah, every one of them is a friend of mine. A couple I like, a couple I don't like. No, I like, actually, this group, I like every single one of them. Can you believe it? Usually I have about 2 or 3 that I can't stand. Usually I have 2 or 3 that I don't like. I don't find them up here. I like every one of these people. No, they're great people. They're great leaders. And the Board of Peace is composed of great friends of mine.
A lot of them look really confused.
Where was Blair? I didn't see him there.
No, Blair's too...
Was he at WEF this year, actually? I don't know that I saw him at WEF.
I've not seen him yet.
Sunak. No, I saw Sunak. He was wandering around. But I haven't seen Blair at WEF.
Yeah, well, Sunak's got his fingers in all the tech stuff, hasn't he? So
and Moderna, yeah.
Yeah. So he's got he's making a fortune, and his whole family. Yes, his whole family's making a fortune.
Wife.
Well, yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah. Okay.
How many passports do you hold, Rishi? Where is your allegiance, Rishi? Just saying.
I know. Important news coming through this week, obviously, regarding digital ID is the ban on, or the attempted ban. I think the House of Lords have now approved this ban, and they're trying to push it through Parliament for the under-16s not to get onto social media.
Australia, here we go.
Well, we know what this is about, because people they're not going to give up their social media, are they?
No, of course they're not.
So the people in general will will sign on for any means possible. I mean, I think people would sign on. Most people probably sign on to watch Coronation Street. To be honest with you, Debbie, if you took Coronation Street from people, then I think people would lose the shit.
No, I absolutely agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. I think that, I mean, the whole digital ID thing anyway, they're rowing back on it. It's a load of rubbish anyway. They're not rowing back on it. It's coming in thick and fast. It's just coming in via a different way. And the social media ban for under 16s, who do they think they're talking to? These kids find their way around anything. You can ban what you like, but they'll still find their way around it. It's just all planned, engineered scam.
Yeah, well, they take what annoys me. Well, a lot of it annoys me. But are we not adult enough to parent our children anyway?
Clearly not. Clearly, they say not. But then we've become a nanny state, complete nanny state. I mean, digital ID is here to stay. It just is. I tell you what, there's one story that I want to just warn people about. If you're living in, wait for it, folks. If you're living, and if you are watching and you know somebody that's living in one of these places, please do clip this and send it to them. If you're living in Peterborough, Brighton, Hove, Hackney, or Powys, your home, well, your city is being converted now into asylum towns. So we're going to have 5 asylum towns in the UK, and Labour have pledged 100 million towards this scheme. So they're going to be rehousing asylum seekers who have been previously living in hotels into homes, and they're also going to get derelict houses. They're going to refurbish old council houses, and they're going to let them out. So we're in America, where you've got sanctuary cities, and I'll repeat it again: Peterborough, Brighton, Hove, Hackney, and Powys. You are going to be one of the 5, or you're going to be the 5 asylum towns in the UK. Just saying.
What a
and these things are going on in the background. You know, while we're all looking at Davos, and we're looking at the Chinese embassy, and we're looking at the Chagos Islands, and we're looking at which politicians said what, and we're looking at we're not seeing. Yeah, this is going on. There's also something out, people in the UK, called Face Watch. So we've got Facebook, we've got FaceTime, now we've got Face Watch. And Face Watch are a facial recognition security system that are being used for companies. So Tesco, Sainsbury's, all your supermarkets, your big stores, they're all going to be using facial recognition. So the minute you walk into one of their stores, you're going to be facially recognized. Do you know that? Who's the data controller? So yeah, a company called Face Watch. And I don't know how close we are to ending, but if we are close to ending, I just want to send out a lot of love to everybody in Kamchatka, because they're having a great time in Kamchatka. They've had so much snow, they've literally been buried, and houses and buildings have been buried in snow up to 9 stories deep. And they've called it a national emergency, but apparently the locals are having a great time. And they've got ski slopes, and they've been digging their cars out. Some of them have been walking along the snow trying to work out where their houses are, because literally all they can see is a chimney coming through the snow. It's absolutely incredible. So sending lots of love and thoughts to everybody in Kamchatka, but it seems that you're all coping pretty good. But you don't hear that in the mainstream media.
Of course you don't hear stuff like that. No. We have got so much to talk about, Debbie, but we really can't, because we're
sending everyone to sleep by now too. Yeah,
we'd be here all day. So, but let's. Have you seen the Health Minister for Wales?
Oh, I think I probably have, but remind me.
I'm going to remind you.
Remind me. Does this resemble a hamster?
Hold on a minute.
It's actually taboo to
there she is.
a person who is from an ethnic minority background. Some communities it's actually taboo to, and it's quite a sensitive topic to talk about. So if you're not being able to learn about these things through the medium of school, then where do you learn? And
why is it everything is upside down in this world? I mean, if you're going to be inspired by health, why don't you have someone who's healthy? If you're going to have somebody, if you're ever going to have someone who's in Parliament that knows what they're talking about regarding health, for example, why would you choose fucking Matt Hancock? Do you know what I mean? It's like,
well, we
come on.
had to for a little tiny while as health secretary. We had Therese Coffey. She's a smoker. She'd also given a prescription of antibiotics to somebody else and got into trouble for that. And these aren't healthy people. Now, for whatever reason, that young lady seems to be fairly overweight, probably morbidly obese. Now, whether that's from a medical condition, I don't know. And I'm not trying to apportion any blame here, but you're absolutely right. You do need to have somebody that you can look up to, and perhaps somebody that will be able to, I mean, who is she? Is she a doctor? Is she a nurse? Has she got any medical qualifications or training? I haven't looked her up, so I don't know, but clearly she doesn't know an awful lot about how to keep healthy, in my opinion.
It's just,
and I'm no picture portrait, and I've got a few pounds to lose, I can promise you.
But this proves to me that the whole world is upside down.
Yeah, it is.
It's just crazy. But the thing is, she's going to get absolute ridicule.
Yeah.
And complete mockery. It's like it's humiliation.
It's embarrassing.
She shouldn't be there.
No.
It's ridiculous.
I mean, if anybody, I mean, I've already said what I've said, and I wouldn't want to cause anybody any sort of anxiety. I wouldn't want to upset anybody, but clearly what I just said could possibly upset her, and I wouldn't want anybody to be put in that position, quite frankly. What else is she hearing from people that are saying things, that giving her the side eye, that raising their eyebrows? It's not nice, and I'm sure she can't be enjoying it if she's noticing it.
Well, it's happening in the comedy circuit, isn't it? There's a lady that gets on Channel 4, and I think she's paraplegic, I think, or something. I don't follow it, but I've seen it. But again, is that not humiliation in a way? You've got comedians who work their asses off for years and years and years and don't get anywhere, and then they put people in the public frame in a way. And I think you're putting yourself. I don't know. I think it's just it's all wrong. It's all wrong.
No, I agree.
Let's end on a funny though, shall we? Because we like to end on a funny. Okay, so we love Keir Starmer, don't we?
No.
Right,
No.
I'm going to play Keir anyway. Anyway, let's say goodbye because we'll end here. So,
thank you for watching. We've got
watching.
very important news coming up, haven't we, Anne? And we need to. We said just before we came on air, this is probably really super important. Please, if you like what we're doing, please like it, subscribe, pass the word around, because Ant and I have got plans. We've got news coming up. And you'll get to hear it. You'll get to hear it first. I promise you'll get to hear it first.
We have definitely got news, right? Are you ready?
Yeah. No.
You're not ready?
Well, kind of am, if I have to be. Keir.
Okay, well, this is rather embarrassing, actually. We sent our best 5 soldiers to Greenland, as a show of force, so President Trump knows we're rather serious about protecting Greenland. But how do I put this? Well, they kind of came back and said it was way too cold. So I asked the Royal Army to send 5 more, but they told me that's all we had. So we're probably going to stay out of this one. And we wish Greenland's new Prime Minister, President Trump, Godspeed on his new venture. Okay, well.
You've got to love AI sometimes, haven't you? You've just got to love it. Oh, dear. Brilliant, priceless.